Office to talk about the latest efforts and what DEA is doing to address the overdose problem issues in Hays County and Kyle. So we're going to start it off with the chief.
Thank you and good afternoon. My name is Jeff Barnett. I'm the police chief for the city of Kyle, and that's Jeffbarnett. First, let me say to everybody in the room, thank you for being here today. That means family and friends, and especially our media partners. We asked you a few weeks ago to help us get out a dangerous message of something that was happening here in our community, and you've come through for us. The media, you're helping us get this message out, and it has not gone unnoticed, and we appreciate you. Here before you today, you're going to see a partnership, as you see standing here with DEA and the sheriff behind me who will speak next, that we have a collaboration with all of our partners that are emergency responders here in Hays County. That includes law enforcement, especially our narcotics investigators and our detectives who are at the forefront, as well as fire and EMS, school resource officers, health officials, and certainly the Hays Consolidated Independent School District and the Drug Enforcement Administration. Everyone here that you see is working together to combat the distribution of illegal pills containing a very dangerous and deadly opioid, fentanyl, in our region. And this teamwork, as we combat this, is evident here today. In late 2020 and through 2022, this region has experienced an increase in fentanyl-related poisonings, many causing death, and sadly, some of those were our younger teenagers in our community. Specifically in Kyle in 2022, our agency has investigated 25 fentanyl-related overdoses, with 7 of those resulting in death, many of those teenagers as well. Our neighbors to the south, the city of San Marcos, has unfortunately experienced the same trend. This year, they've had 45 fentanyl-related calls for service with 5 deaths. Sheriff Cutler, when he comes up in a few minutes, will speak about some of the incidents as they relate to Hays County as well. In a press conference a few weeks ago, I told you the commitment that we had as collective partners to bring justice to the families who have lost a loved one or those who are experiencing the effects of fentanyl as it has reached our community. I told you, and I also told the people who are responsible for dealing these illegal drugs in our community, that we were coming after you, and I meant it. Thanks to the hard work of our men and women who are investigating these crimes, I'm here today to announce that we have made 2 arrests thus far in this investigation. The first is Anthony Jean Perez Rios, a 20-year-old male from the city of San Marcos. He has been arrested and charged with 3 different offenses. One is the manufacture and delivery with intent to distribute a controlled substance, which is in penalty group 1B, fentanyl, over 4 grams and less than 200 grams, which in the state of Texas is a first-degree felony. He was also charged with delivery of a controlled substance to a child. That's a second-degree felony. He was also charged with possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 2, less than 1 gram, which is a state jail felony. At the time of his arrest, he also had in his possession at his residence a shotgun and a rifle, and he had nearly 400 counterfeit Percocet pills containing fentanyl. Those were ready for deadly distribution in our community at the time of his arrest. Suspect number 2 is a 16-year-old juvenile, and as such, I cannot release more information or identifiers about him. However, he has been charged with manufacture, delivery of a controlled substance, penalty group 1B, less than 1 gram, or greater than 1 gram, less than 4 grams, a second-degree felony. Let me be very clear, as I was 2 weeks ago. These investigations continue and we will not stop. Our investigators are working day and night, and all of the partners that I mentioned earlier are working day and night. They're doing everything that they can to help keep our community safe and make it safer. We specifically at KPD appreciate each and every one of the men and women that are working these cases to bring those responsible to justice. I'll now turn it over to Assistant Special Agent in Charge from the Houston Division and the Austin District Office, ASAC, Tyson Hodges.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tyson Hodges. I'm the Assistant Special Agent in charge of the Austin District Office. Before I talk to you this afternoon about the drug task force that we're putting together, I'd like to provide you some of the trends that we're seeing nationally. In 2021, we had over 107,000 people die from drug poisoning overdoses. Of those, approximately 70% were related to opioids and fentanyl. Drug cartels are using social media and other platforms to flood our communities, like Kyle, with deadly fentanyl and fake pills. Last year alone, DEA seized over 20 million fake fentanyl pills. If you look at these photos here, you'll see exactly what we're talking about. One of these is counterfeit and one is real. If you can't tell the difference from where you're at, there's a reason for that. This is an actual authentic pill. This is a fake pill. Unfortunately, the fake pills look better in most cases than the actual pills themselves. And that's the problem. People can't tell the difference between a real pill and a fake pill. If you take a fake pill, you're gambling with your life. Remember, it only takes 2 milligrams, about the size of a few grains of salt, table salt, to kill the average adult. Please don't gamble with your life. Law enforcement cannot solve this problem alone. That's why the Drug Enforcement Administration is going to partner with the Texas National Guard, the Hays County Public Health Department, and local law enforcement agencies throughout Hays County to develop a overdose task force. The goal of the task force is to track down and arrest violent criminals peddling fake fentanyl or fake pills containing fentanyl. The other goal of the task force will be to educate the public and the youth about the dangers of fentanyl. Today we want to get out a couple messages to you. First of all, don't take prescription medications that are not prescribed to you by your doctor or dispensed by a pharmaceutical company. It's too dangerous. For the parents out there, please talk to your kids. Monitor their social media accounts, monitor their phone traffic. Make sure that your kids are not getting involved with this. You simply just don't know what they're dealing with. DEA has a program called One Pill Can Kill. When we talk about fentanyl and the small amounts of fentanyl that can kill a human, we just want to make sure everybody understands that one pill can kill. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Hays County Sheriff Gary Cutler. That's G-A-R-Y-C-U-T-L-E-R. I'd like to thank Agent Hodges and Chief Barnett for having this press conference here. Over the past 13 months, the Hays County Sheriff's Department investigated 10 fentanyl-related overdose deaths. In Hays County, once again, let me emphasize, Hays County, outside of the incorporated cities of Kyle, Butte, and San Marcos. This numbers outside does not include their numbers. We do not know exactly how many overdoses we've had in Hays County as far as overdoses, other than deaths. So what I mean by that, most calls will come out as a medical call, and EMS or the fire department may handle that call, and we may not, law enforcement may not be involved in that if it's some form of overdose. But deaths involved obviously will be. So what we've done, we're going to team up with the fire and EMS and into an overdose mapping tracking system. We're starting that already to help us track fentanyl. And that way we can help with investigative purposes. We can use this tracking system to help all investigators as our teams work together to put an end to this fentanyl crisis. I've also reached out to the Hayes County Crime Stoppers office and asked them to increase the reward money to $1,000 for the arrest and indictment of drug dealers in Hayes County. So we're hoping that'll generate some activity. And the last thing I like to talk about is what Special Agent just talked about. We want to reach out to every person we can in Hayes County and educate them. We started an education program a couple of weeks ago. When I mean reach out, I mean whether it's a school classroom, a school auditorium, a football locker room, the local Lions Club, homeowner association, anybody that allows us to come talk to them and tell them about the dangers of this fentanyl, this drug, and how social media is involved with it. So if you do want to do that, which we encourage anybody in this county to call us, we're ready to do it. We started 2 weeks ago. And like I said, we'll go right into the Girl Scouts meeting if we can talk to them. And we want to talk to all levels. It doesn't matter their age. We want to talk to them about the deadly effects of fentanyl and how it's poisoning our kids. So if you want to do that, the phone number to reach us at the Sheriff's Department is 512-393-7896. And we'll have someone to make arrangements to come talk to your group, whatever group it is. It's time that we get together. We have to pull together as a team here. The law enforcement is doing it. We got to get our community, we got to get our youth to work with us. We got to put a stop to this. If not, the last thing we want is for officers to respond to another fentanyl overdose death. So thank you.
Well, we'll take some questions.
If we can elaborate, in terms of social media, you're saying that drug cartels are using that to attract our youth. How so? I mean, are these ads or what does this look like?
So primarily they are using, of course, chat groups. They'll form Discord groups, and they'll also do some advertising through their own channels, and they'll push the agenda out that way. When they're using social media, of course, they're gonna show the product, advertise prices, and then make arrangements for when and where to meet.
In terms of arrests, we see that we have two. Obviously there's more suspects. Are we thinking of a ring here, or are we dealing with several suspects that you could possibly talk about, Chief?
So without going into specifics about the investigation too much, I'll tell you that we're certainly looking at all leads that will tie back to the illegal trade here in Hayes County. Do we think there will be more arrests? Absolutely. And that's because I have the confidence in our men and women that are working these cases. And after sitting in a briefing and getting an update on their progress, I have no doubt that they will continue their good work and they will bring more people to justice for bringing this deadly substance to our community.
And Chief, I apologize if you mentioned this, but do we know if the two that were arrested were linked directly to these students that were affected, or is that unconfirmed?
I won't be able to divulge what we know about their involvement in the entire process. However, I shared with you the charges that they had. Obviously, one of those individuals, the adult, had nearly 400 pills in his possession. This is a target of our investigation, is to find these pills because of the deaths and the overdoses that we've had. And should we be able to release more information about their direct involvement, we'll do so if we can.
Are you able to say the types of drugs that these students were taking? Was it Percocet or was it other?
In most cases, it's been a blue pill, and I'll speak specifically to the cases here in Kyle. It's typically a light blue pill. It's stamped with M30 on it. It is intended to look like another prescription drug that one may legally get at a doctor. However, the contents of that pill is not what you think. It's not, because they're not made in a lab. They're not made in a pharmacy. They're not prescribed by a doctor. These are street-made drugs, and that's why they're so dangerous. But the ones that we found mostly here in Kyle are the light blue pill with the M30 stamped on them. But I need to encourage you as parents. You need to have a conversation with your children about the possibility that these drugs are going to change shape, color, size. We're already seeing that across the country. We've heard some conversations about rainbow varieties and versions, and the DEA has done a really good job at trying to share that information at what they see nationwide. So don't let me mislead you and let you look just for the baby blue powder pill with M30 on it, because tomorrow it may be yellow or pink or green or any other color. So you need to educate your kids, to the parents, please talk to your children about the dangers of taking any medication from anyone else. I don't care if they say it's a prescription medication that they got themselves from their doctor, or if they say it's some type of candy or anything that's going to help them relax or anything like that. You need to have that hard conversation with them and tell them that they could all be dangerous and not to take any. I'll briefly add one point that I made at a previous press conference. These pills, they'll break them up into small pieces and they'll share those pieces, or they'll take a small piece at a time because they think that is safe. That is absolutely not true. Again, these things are street made. They're not made in a lab. They're not a properly constructed medication that you would take. So even one piece of a pill could be deadly. So it's an important message to get out. Yes, ma'am?
Chief, you're saying that they're being street made. Do we know where they're coming from, or are they made locally in Hayes County?
So our indication so far in the investigation is that it is coming from the greater Austin area, and then the Austin intelligence shows that many of those are coming across our border and are being made outside of our country.
DEA can provide a further comment on that, two drug cartels that we distribute.
So what we can provide to you right now is that many of these pills are being produced by the Sinaloa and CJNG drug cartels. The fentanyl is coming into Mexico, they're being produced in Mexico, and then they're coming across our borders.
One more question.
Can we just talk about the greater appeal? Because we have we're from Austin, San Antonio, around here, and I know we're focused on Hayes and Kyle, but these can end up, kind of along our area, because we're trying to talk about a broadened approach here. I know it's unfortunately happening here, but can you at least elaborate and talk about the other areas that this could go into, or it's already at?
A little bit about, okay, sure.
Just briefly from our perspective, and I certainly need to yield to DEA, from our perspective, this wasn't particularly a problem here in Kyle. And I'm not saying it wasn't present, but it wasn't present like it is today. So the increased availability here in our community is why we're all standing here today, and the injuries and deaths that it's caused to our community. So that's what's happening here. This has been a nationwide problem for several years now, and DEA can address that. But what we're here talking about in Kyle is the fact that that drug has made it into our community, and it's harming our citizens, and specifically our youth.
Yeah, I just really reiterate what the chief said. This cuts across all races, socioeconomic levels. It's non-specific. It doesn't matter who you are, what you're doing, where you came from. Once it makes it into your community, it's there. And we, quite frankly, we're going to have to dig it out. Again, law enforcement can't do this by ourselves. We've got to have the community's help. We can sit up here and tell you about arrests and seizures all day long. But the simple fact of the matter is, if the parents will get involved and work with us, we can address this at a more finite level, down with the family level, and that's where we need to be.
Thank you so much.
If anybody's interested in getting a booking photo of the gentleman, there's also a QR code that you guys go ahead and scan, and they'll go into our Hayes County booking system for the jail, and you can get the actual booking photo itself. So there's copies here to hand out, so if anybody